How cool is that? That like we're just in that day and time where that's happening, where there's innovation happening at a pace that you just never seen before. And you know, obviously NASA and the Soviet.
Oh, Starship. Let's go! After long. Yo! Yo, what's up? Bro, this shit is like freaking me out, bro, I swear. I can't wait for this launch. Bro, it's like a movie right now. It's like a movie, I swear. Yeah, I'll be doing FIFA streams. Bro, I got nothing, bro. Bro, I just can't wait to watch this live, like the launch right now. Bro, I was playing FIFA right now actually, just before the stream.
Good morning. You're looking at a live view of Starship as it awaits its first ever integrated flight test from Starbase, Texas, in just a little over from 40 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Today, we're hoping to see our Super Heavy booster and Starship spacecraft, collectively referred to as Starship, lift off together for the first time.
Bro, it's
Thanks
like
for tuning in.
I stopped,
I'm Kate Tice,
like,
Quality
I
Systems
stopped
Engineering
streaming
Manager
FIFA
here
on
at
YouTube,
SpaceX
but I still do it on
headquarters in
Twitch.
Hawthorne, California.
So you can
And
like
I'm Shiva
check my
Bharadwaj, a
Twitch if
space
you want,
operations
because I do a
engineer
lot of
here at
FIFA streams on
SpaceX.
Twitch.
Now, as many of you know, Starship is SpaceX's latest and
Bro,
largest vehicle
it's
developed
been long,
to date.
right? It's
it
been
represents a fully
long.
reusable transportation system designed to carry both crew and cargo to Earth orbit, the Moon, Mars, and beyond.
Bro,
If you've
looking
been
brand
following
new.
the development of Starship over the last couple of years,
let's
you know
go.
we've been doing a lot of testing leading up to this big one. Once fully developed, it will be the world's most powerful launch vehicle with twice the thrust of Saturn V rocket and the ability to carry up
But
to
look at that
150
rocket, bro. Just look
metric
at that
tons to
rocket.
orbit. For reference, a 1 liter bottle of water is 1 kilogram, so 150 metric tons is
Yeah, just
basically
add me on Twitch.
150,000
I do a lot of
1
FIFA
liter
streams there.
bottles
Not a
of
lot,
water,
but like
or as I like to think of
like
it, one rather
twice a
lonely
week
blue
or
whale.
something like that.
Now, today's test will be the first of many as we work
39
towards
minutes to
transitioning
go.
Starship from a developmental to an operational program. Our
Yo,
primary objective today
Dennis
is to
there
gather as
alone.
much data
Oh,
as
that's
we
you.
can
Okay,
around
okay,
the
okay.
fully
Hi, I'm
integrated
on
vehicles.
Twitch.
That means the booster and the Starship and the ground systems. While we have flown Starship in the past, this will be the first attempt of
go.
Super Heavy and the first opportunity to validate how the two vehicles operate together.
Any data that we get helps improve the future builds of Starship will be considered a success.
Bro, I just
for
hope
the
this rocket
purposes
launches
of
today.
today's test. Every milestone beyond that is
Bro,
icing
what's
on the
happening,
cake.
bro?
The further
What?
we fly,
Yo,
the
just
more
switch
data we
to
can collect.
Twitch.
If all
Okay,
goes
okay,
well,
okay, okay. Got
today's
it, got it,
flight
got
test
it.
could last as long as 90 minutes from liftoff.
Bro, I'm getting confused,
to
bro,
an
right
expected
now.
hard ocean landing for Starship. Whether
Bro,
we end the
no
test
more
with
fog,
a hard
please.
landing or a rapid unscheduled
It's like a rocket launch.
disassembly,
Have to
or
be
some
serious right
combination
now.
of both, excitement is pretty much guaranteed.
Now, if it does all go well, Super Heavy will fire up its 33 Raptor engines,
Bro, look
and
at-
it'll
look at
lift
that,
off
look at
from the
that.
launch pad down in South Texas.
Shit.
About 3
Bro,
minutes
they're
into the
tripping me
flight,
out.
we're gonna
Why they
hope
made
to
the
see
globe,
the Super Heavy
like, upside
separate
down?
from the Starship spacecraft.
Bro, why they're
It'll
doing
then
those animation,
perform
bro?
a
It's
flip
tripping me
maneuver.
out.
So there's that. You can see that on your screen. And then it'll boost back in order to make a hard
But
landing
that shit
in the
is
Gulf
tripping
of
me out,
Mexico.
bro.
And while that's happening, we hope to see Starship's
Why the globe is upside
6-second
down?
stage engines ignite and watch as Starship coasts for about an hour at altitudes ranging between 150
SpaceX, I
and
swear, they make
250
some
kilometers
crazy
before
trippy
re-entering
animations.
Earth's atmosphere and make its own hard landing in the Pacific Ocean about 250-ish kilometers offshore.
Now, we are getting
look
great
at the
camera
rocket.
views right now, but
Look
that's
at the
because
rocket.
we are on the launch pad, so we've got umbilicals and connections straight to the vehicle. But we aren't
Look at the
expecting to
rocket.
get very many good views once we get past booster separation.
Yeah, we do promise, though, for any views that we do get, we will share them in real time. We are
Shit.
watching
Look at the
live
frost.
with you all,
Look at the
so
frost.
we're excited to see those views ourselves as well.
Oh.
Down a little bit, we are going to take a
36
closer look
minutes
at the
to go.
vehicle and the launch pad. But first, today is a super exciting day. Everyone on the teams across Starship have been preparing, doing a number of tests and dress rehearsals for today's launch attempt.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, we saw a nice little
36
recap of
minutes
those tests
to
in
go.
the intro video to
World
today's webcast.
largest, biggest
for those
rocket,
of you that are following
most powerful
along, you
rocket.
know that many of those tests ended in those rapid
2 years in
unscheduled
making.
assemblies, or RUDs, as we like to call them. And it's been a long road to today. Just in 2022 alone, we had 9 static fires. We've had a couple of wet dress rehearsals. And of course, the launch control team has done numerous simulations as well.
So major shout out to the teams that have been preparing for today's full up integrated test. In fact, we've got a shot of Star Command at the
Oh, it's the first time we are
Texas
looking
launch
at the control room.
team. Look at all the
Yeah.
people ready for today's launch attempt.
Yeah, that right there is our South Texas Launch Control Center. That is basically ground zero for everything that is happening today, in addition to a couple other control rooms that
Yeah,
we have
it's so
operating
good,
as
I
well,
swear,
with
bro, this rocket.
operators on console, including the Mission Control
But
Center
this will be
here
the rocket
behind us
taking,
here
like,
in
humans
Hawthorne,
to Mars.
California. But with that being said, our very own Zachary Lupin is one of our SpaceX employees at our watch event in South Padre Island. Hey, Zach, how are things going on the ground?
It is a great day for a test launch today, Kate.
Bro, I wish
Hello,
I was
everyone.
there
My
looking
name
at the
is
launch
Zachary
from
Lupin,
the
and I'm
beach,
an avionics
bro.
reliability engineer
Just look
here
at the
at
view
SpaceX,
from the
and I'm
beach.
at the Cameron County Amphitheater, where a growing number of SpaceX employees are gathering to watch what we hope is the first liftoff of a fully integrated Starship. Now, the Starship team has worked incredibly hard for today's
that's
launch
not an
test.
audio issue from
Over the
me,
past
okay?
weekend,
That's an
teams
audio
held
issue
a
from
launch
them.
readiness review, which included a comprehensive review of all of our vehicle systems, looking at avionics, GNC, communications, software, structures, as well as our Raptor engines and propulsion
Look at the
in general.
camera. What a camera
Now,
view.
we are only about 5
It looks
miles
like it's
away
in the middle
from
of
the launch
clouds.
pad, so it's a pretty good view
What a
for
view.
today.
What a
and as
view.
we get into as we start to approach T-0, everyone here is clearly very excited for the events that are happening today. So as we get closer to T-0, I'm going to throw it back to Hawthorne to talk more about a rocket.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zach. And we've actually got a little bit of a crowd forming behind us, too. Now, we've got a shot of Starship on the screen. The entire Starship structure you see is made of stainless steel. And when that's fully stacked, it stands about 120 meters tall and about 9 meters
it's like
around.
a building
to help you
flying,
get a sense
bro.
of just how big that is, we've captured a video of some
Just
of our
look
teams
at-
doing
look at the scale
final
of the
integration
rocket.
prep work in advance of today's test flight.
Just like Falcon 9, Starship has 2 stages, which we will talk a little bit more about in a minute. But in addition to those 2 stages, Starship actually has a 3rd stage called Stage 0. It consists of all the launch pad infrastructure built around the rocket. You can see a great view of it there on your screen.
Just look at that, bro.
It's truly an engineering feat in its own right.
And I feel like it's something we don't talk about very often. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes into fueling and preparing the launch vehicle before a large test like this, really any launch.
Shit.
Now, let's talk about Super Heavy. The name says it all. It's
Super heavy.
it's heavy, it's super heavy.
Starship.
It goes by some other names, the first stage or the booster, but whatever you call it, the Super Heavy will be the vehicle
S24.
responsible for powering Starship against that mighty gravitational pull we've got here on Earth. And when it's fully operational, it's going to get Starship to orbit.
The booster alone stands about 7
32
meters
minutes
tall
to go.
and is about the same height as a fully integrated Falcon 9, but with a diameter roughly 2.5 times that of Falcon 9 and with 33 much larger engines.
Yeah, and having those engines, and oh my gosh, I love this shot. We can see,
Look at the engine.
looking
Oh.
up into the launch mount at the 33
Look at
engines
that.
on the booster. Those are each of the Raptor engines that's going to power today's launch attempt.
Yeah, this is an incredible view. One of my favorite views that we're going to get today. We don't have this kind of view on our Falcon 9 launches, so this is so exciting to see. You can even make out the paint markers indicating which engine is which. Like we said, there are 33 of them. So there's a lot of fire that's going to be coming out from those engines in just over 31 minutes from now. As we
Jeez,
mentioned
look at
before,
that. Bro,
there are
this I
33
love
of them
this
on the,
view.
on the Super Heavy, the booster.
Bro, it looks like it's
and
like going
we
between the
don't see it right
clouds.
now,
Like
but
it's just
the cluster
passing through
in
the
in the
clouds.
center are the ones that are actually going to gimbal and help steer the booster
Look at that
back
angle,
down for
bro.
its water
SpaceX is
landing in the
one
Gulf.
crazy
Yeah, and they're a
company.
little bit different, Kate, than our Falcon engines. So on Falcon, we use a gas generator cycle. Here's a fantastic shot, actually, at the inner stage, so we can see the 6 engines that are on the ship side, 3
This is the upper
gimbaling in the
stage.
middle,
The
and then
engines on the upper
the
stage.
vacuum engines. You can see 2 of them, and the other ones on the other side of the cluster
Almost
in the middle
half
here.
an hour to go.
So Raptor's a little bit different. It uses something called stage combustion, which means we basically pre-burn both the fuel side and the ox side, and then get those up to the right temperatures and pressures, and then mix
Bro, I
them in the
just can't
combustion
wait.
chamber.
I
It allows us to
can't
get higher
wait.
thrust and higher efficiency on these engines than on Falcon 9.
I can't wait, bro.
Now, Super Heavy also has 4 grid fins to assist with orienting itself during the return back to Earth, as today is the fully integrated flight test. And the first one, we're focusing on safely testing just the fundamental systems and operations on the vehicle. So what that means is we won't be attempting to land on land today. Instead, Super Heavy is going to be making that hard water landing in the Gulf.
Starship, or the spacecraft, is the second stage and makes up the top portion of the vehicle. It's designed for carrying passengers and cargo between destinations on Earth, Earth orbit, and planetary destinations. It stands 50 meters tall, a little taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's comprised of 6 Raptors. We saw those just moments ago. 3 of them are optimized for sea level, and the other 3 are vacuum engines. And they're optimized to operate in the vacuum of space. They provide a maximum of 258,000 tons of thrust in vacuum. The spacecraft is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable precise landing at the intended location. You can see a view of those flaps there.
Bro, look at the views they got. Look at the cameras they got.
And that's because Starship is designed for vertical
Not all
takeoff and
companies
landing,
can do this.
as opposed to taking off and landing like an airplane. And that's really important because we don't have runways on the moon and Mars. Fortunately, gravity at both of those destinations is not nearly as
But this is
high as it
actually
is
just
here on
crazy.
Earth. On
The
Mars,
size
it's
of
about
this
a
rocket is
third
like,
of what Earth's gravity is.
I don't know
on
what
the
to
moon,
even
the gravity
say.
is just a sixth.
Bro, like
of
when you
what
go
it is
on top
here.
of the tower,
So
you can
Starship
see
can
the
take off
whole
in both
fucking
of those
city,
cases
bro.
without needing the super heavy booster.
It's like
we
a
need here on
skyscraper
Earth.
flying.
Now, for today's test,
I don't know.
Starship does not have its landing legs attached. And that's because we aren't going to be attempting to return to the launch site or land on land. It's going to be doing another hard water landing at the end of today's test.
We can't wait. Starship is wrapped in a heat shield, which is composed of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. The hex-shaped tiles, like these ones that we have here, roughly make up about 2/3 of the vehicle. There's a couple of different geometries. The one that I have is for the circular portions of the vehicle, so it has this curvature to it.
That's
And the one that
crazy.
Shiva has.
Yeah, this kind is a hexagonal shape, and there's
That's
several thousand of
crazy.
these all across the body of the vehicle.
Just a
And
minute.
it's worth saying we need these because when a spacecraft re-enters from orbital velocity, it's going faster than the speed of sound and causes a lot of heat to build up that has to get dissipated by these heat shield
My
tiles.
camera just
one
went off.
thing that's really cool about these is they're super lightweight. Even just holding them,
It's back, right? Yeah,
we're
it's
able
back, it's
to
back.
even just like hear how
Back.
hollow they are because of the construction. But they do a great job of
Almost
dispersing that
27
heat,
minutes to
during that
go.
atmospheric reentry.
Bro, I've been
we
waiting
actually
for
produce
this
these
for like
in-house
last 2
at
years.
what
I
we
have
like
been
to call the
following every
SpaceX
step of the
bakeries.
development.
And they're located in
It's
Texas
like,
and
I
Florida.
don't know what to say
So it's
right
something
now.
that we designed and build in-house. And like
It's
we said,
super
there's thousands
exciting.
of them.
It's super exciting.
You can kind of see them on the exterior of the vehicle.
Well, it's like if this is
So at
successful
point
today,
in time,
right?
We are
Like,
at
it's like a whole different-
27 minutes
I don't know
and
what to
18
say.
seconds. So let's head on over
Like, this
to
is some
John Innsbrucker for an
crazy shit.
update on the countdown. Hey, John.
Thanks, Kate, and good morning. I'm John Innsbrucker, Principal Integration Engineer here at SpaceX. We're currently loading propellant from the ground system into both the first and second stages. Now, both vehicles use the same 2 propellants. Our fuel is liquid methane at a temperature of just over 100 kelvins, or about minus 272
Bro, people are
degrees
so lucky who
Fahrenheit.
stays there. They
Now,
can
this
see the
is
launch from the
a
beach,
different
bro.
fuel from Falcon 9.
Just imagine you're
where
in
we
a
use
beach
RP1
and you see
kerosene.
this rocket fucking
And our
going up.
oxidizer is liquid oxygen, the same as Falcon 9.
Like it'll feel like
But
you're in the
because
future.
there's no oxygen in space to support
no,
combustion,
no
we have to
planes. It's
bring
like
our
rocket
own.
going up.
Now, a little bit of a recap. We did the go, no go poll at T-minus 1 hour and 45 minutes. And once the team gave their goes, we polled about 20 folks. We started loading propellants onto the booster at T-minus 1 hour and
Everything is
39
go,
minutes.
go, go. Let's
And at
go.
T-minus 1 hour and 22 minutes, we began propellant loading of the ship, the second stage on Starship.
Weather is go,
Now,
range
LOX
is go,
loading of
vehicle
the
is
second
go,
stage
and
main
there's no
tank is
payload. So
almost
there's
complete
no
right now,
no
but
go
we'll
required for a
actually
payload.
stretch it out and wrap it up and finish at T-minus 5 minutes.
Bro,
And
look
then
at this
T-minus
camera
3
angle,
minutes as the booster finishes
Oh.
loading. The vehicle will be fully loaded with just over
That's
10
the
billion
best
pounds
camera
propellant. Now, currently in the countdown, we've just passed
Bro, I'm
the T-minus
sweating,
26-minute mark. The good news is weather's looking good. You can see the blue skies there on the camera views from the drone.
The best part is the
only
weather
thing
is
we're
so clear that
watching
we
is
can
winds. They
we
are
can
within
actually
limits
watch it
at ground
clearly.
level. We expect they may pick up a little bit as we get farther into the window should we need to go that far. But the good news right now is that the weather is looking good. The range also is looking pretty good. We've moved almost all the boats out of the keep out zone overnight. We are working one, but we're still underway. And right now is a reminder,
the boats are very
if for
pissing
any
off.
reason we do not make our test flight today, we have backup launch windows. This could be either 24 or 48 hours after today, and it'll depend on how far we get into the countdown. But coming up on 25 minutes to go, everything is looking good.
Let's do it today. Let's do it today.
In order to make life multiplanetary,
Bro,
we
these
need
boats,
a fully
right?
reusable vehicle
Bro,
that's
it's like-
capable of carrying a huge amount of cargo and
But these
a lot of
boats,
fuel
right?
to orbit.
What happens is they have to clear the range for the rocket to launch, but they purposely come.
Like airplanes. Crowd is getting excited here in Hawthorne behind me.
It didn't launch, bro. This is animation,
Now, imagine
bro.
if you had to wait for a new airplane to be constructed.
But
every
these
time
people
you
are
wanted to
dumb
fly.
as hell.
You rarely go anywhere, and it would probably be completely unaffordable for most of us.
Fucking
In order for
showing
us to
animation
get
and
Mars
they're
back
getting
with lots
excited,
of
bro.
people,
Let the fucking
sometimes
rocket launch.
reusability is a must.
Now, in the near term and a
But
bit
they're dumb as
closer
hell,
to
bro.
home here on Earth, Starship will be critical to other programs as well. Once it's operational, Starship will deliver the full-size and upgraded version of our Starlink satellites.
Bro, is the
That's super
sound and my
exciting
voice like
because our
alright?
next-generation
Or is it
satellites
like too
represent
loud?
a
Or is
step
it too
forward
low?
in
You can't hear
Starlink's
me? Like, just let me know in the
capabilities
comments,
and will
okay?
provide more
In the
bandwidth
chat.
and increased
Just let me know.
reliability to
Because
connect
for me, it's
millions
like,
of people
it's
around
like
the world with
the
high-speed internet.
I can't like actually hear the
And of course,
stream
Starship will
volume
fly a
here.
number of
For me,
human
the
spaceflight
volume is different. For
missions
you,
in
the
lead
oh,
up to
okay,
our
okay,
first
okay.
missions
Got it,
to
got it.
Mars.
Okay,
Entrepreneur
okay.
and pilot Jared Isaacman will command the first human spaceflight on Starship as part of the Polaris program.
Let's
Jared
go!
served as commander for Inspiration 4, the first all-civilian mission to orbit. Inspiration 4 launched aboard our Dragon spacecraft and Falcon
Bro, I just
9
hope my
in
internet doesn't
September
fuck up, okay?
2021, raising over $240 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The first human spaceflight on Starship will launch as part of the Polaris
Bro, when they
program,
launched
and you can learn
the
more
other
about that
rocket for the
series of
first time
videos
also, I
at
did a live stream.
polarisprogram.com.
So this is like,
Now, our first lunar
it's,
mission,
and again they're
around
doing
the
another
aboard
rocket
Starship
launch and I'm
will be
doing the
led by
first
Japanese
flight, right?
entrepreneur
It's
Yusaku
like,
Maezawa,
it's like a
also
memory
known as
for me.
MZ. MZ flew to space for the first time in December 2021, and he purchased all of the seats aboard Starship's first lunar mission.
I don't
in order
know
to give
if,
artists and creators
wait, can
from
I
all
show
over
you?
the
Let's
world
see.
the opportunity to go.
Oh,
And
I
the
don't,
hope is that what they will create
let me see if I
in
can
space
find
will
on my
further
YouTube
inspire
channel,
all
if
of
it's
us
still
here
there.
back on planet Earth.
Let me see
Now,
when
over
was
a
that,
million
okay?
people applied for this mission, and earlier this year they announced the final 8 crew members were
Your
selected,
videos,
and you can learn more about them and MZ's mission at
where is it?
dearmoon.earth.
Let's see if I can
Dennis
find.
and Akiko Tito are the first 2 crew members announced to fly on Starship's second commercial spaceflight around the moon.
See, I found it,
This
I
will be
found it.
Dennis's second mission to space.
It was 2
after
years
becoming
back.
The first commercial astronaut to visit the International Space Station in 2001.
2 years
And
back.
Akiko will be among the first women to fly around the moon on a Starship.
I
The
can't
Titos
show.
joined the mission to contribute to SpaceX's long-term
I can't
goal
show, I
to
can't
advance
show.
human
Fuck it.
spaceflight and help
It was
make
2
life
years back.
multiplanetary.
SpaceX is also incredibly honored to be part of NASA's Artemis program to establish a sustainable presence on the moon to prepare for missions to Mars. Starship's early test launches, followed by
That's
those
crazy, it's
regular
been 2
Starlink deployment
years.
missions and propellant transfer demonstrations, are directly advancing NASA's Artemis program, along with SpaceX's ongoing mission to make life multiplanetary.
SpaceX will conduct an uncrewed demonstration mission to the moon prior to the Artemis 3 mission, which will mark humanity's first return to the lunar surface in more than 50 years. It's an exciting future, but let's talk a little about how we
21
got
minutes to
today.
go.
Now, Starship testing ramped up in July of 2019 with the Star Hopper prototype. It's sort of a short version of the Starship that we see today. There's a picture of it on your screen.
Yeah, I did a live stream for this. I did a live stream for
Standing
this.
at just over 18 meters tall, the Star Hopper had
Crazy.
a single engine and was
That was my first live stream
perform landing
of
and
rocket
low-level
launches.
altitude maneuvers.
When they tested
Starship's
this.
initial flight test was a hop that reached about 20 meters.
This
in
one,
altitude.
exactly this
This was
one.
followed by a second
Woo.
hop, the one that we've got on our screen, that rose to 150 meters in altitude. We took a little jaunt away from the launch pad and ended up landing about 100 meters
Crazy.
or so further away from it, and you can see that on your screen. Now, notably, this was the first time that we had used a Raptor engine in flight and demonstrated control of this kind.
As a Star Wars fan, I can't not see a flying R2-D2 there. Now, after a series of 150-meter hop tests with earlier prototypes, the Starship program saw a huge breakthrough during a test flight of the vehicle known as serial number 8, or SN8. SN8 demonstrated a first-of-its-kind controlled aerodynamic descent and landing flip maneuver. Yes, I'm talking about the belly flop. This 12.5-kilometer hop test took place December 2020 and saw the SN8 prototype ascend to an altitude of 12.5 kilometers and conduct a belly flop maneuver. While it didn't stick the landing, the test was a major milestone in the development of Starship.
I love seeing the belly flop maneuver. Now, testing continued with the prototype on serial number 9. That was a 10-kilometer flight test in February of 2021. We had a nominal ascent,
19 minutes.
cutoff,
We are coming closer and closer and closer.
were stable. However, we unfortunately had a dramatic ending to the end of that flight.
Closer and closer and closer and closer.
To relight. That resulted in one of those rapid unscheduled disassemblies. But what was really exciting,
I did a live stream for this also.
Numbers 8 and 9 is how quickly we were able to achieve just our primary objectives in those 2 high-altitude test flights. In addition to getting lots of great data,
It's like a beauty. Just look at that rocket,
of the
bro.
vehicle and subsonic re-entry capability.
Ultimately, we performed 9 Starship high-altitude test flights in total.
And they landed this one. They landed this one, I think. Yeah, they landed this
reached
one.
an altitude of about 10 kilometers, performed a number of maneuvers, and safely returned to the
Yeah,
launch site.
they landed.
This was
Yeah.
the first Starship prototype to fly,
Bro, it
control,
actually
descent,
stood.
safely land, and to be recovered in one piece.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, having achieved that success in our suborbital campaign, one of the next big challenges for upper stage reusability is to survive the high heating hypersonic phase of entry. Combined with the ability to refill our Starship's tank with fuel and oxygen while on orbit,
we're
is
getting
what will
actually.
enable a fully reusable
It's like only
transportation
15,
system that's
around
designed to
15
carry
minutes
both
left.
crew and cargo on these long duration
My camera,
interplanetary
man.
flights, and that's ultimately what will help humanity return to the moon and
My
travel
camera
to
keeps
Mars and
fucking up.
beyond in our solar system.
So as you can tell, it is nothing but an iterative
Oh,
process
shit.
to get to the point that we are today and where we will go from here. That iteration is a core process of how we work here at SpaceX. We
Are
like
you
to
guys
fly,
excited for this?
And we like to test early and often, both on the side of
Like, I
hardware
want
and
as many
software.
people to
Yeah,
watch
that's an
this
awesome point, Kate. Now,
because I
we
just
are
want people to
continuing
know
our
how big of a
countdown
thing
to
this
Starship
is.
liftoff just over 17 minutes from now.
17
Of course,
minutes.
Let's check in with John for another status update. John?
Thanks, Shiva. Clock is coming up on T-minus 17 minutes from liftoff. We're
Everything is
continuing to
go.
push towards 0. However, right now we've just begun listening in. The first
No.
stage team is working a pressurization issue.
No.
They're troubleshooting that right now. Now, we do have the option, if need be, if we can't solve this, then we would hold the count and probably treat today as a wet dress and not be able to launch. However, we are continuing to do propellant loading on both the Super Heavy and the ship stages. And most recently, we began loading liquid oxygen and methane fuel into the header tanks on Starship. At the very top, just underneath the nose there are 2 small spherical tanks. That's where the fuel and liquid oxygen header tanks are. That started at T-minus 27
Doesn't look
minutes,
good
and that
now.
propellant loading will continue until
There's some issue with the
T-minus
first
9 minutes.
stage.
We'll also continue loading the main tanks of the Starship second stage, although they're pretty much full right now. Everything will drain back as we get ready for launch at T-minus 5 minutes. Now on the first stage, we're continuing to load the massive amount of propellant onto the Super Heavy booster. That's going to continue until T-minus 3 minutes. You can see the frost line on some of the views as both liquid methane and liquid oxygen go into the tank. It's 16 minutes and counting. We're also currently configuring the launch pad for liftoff. The booster hold downs are being prepared for the release at liftoff, and the second stage quick disconnect is beginning its configuration for release. The liquid oxygen and methane that are going into the second stage go through that quick disconnect. You can see it in some of the views, the arm that comes out just to the base of the second stage. Now it'll move out of the way as we lift off. At the same time, the SpaceX team continues to check in with the Coast Guard. We're working one boat that's in the safety perimeter. They are working to get that boat out of the way. We cleared several other boats out overnight. We're down to one, and we expect that'll be clear so that we can proceed with launch out over the Gulf of Mexico. But as a reminder, T-minus 15 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. We are working an issue on the first stage, and we'll bring an update as we get more insight into that issue.
First stage has some issue. I think
Today's test flight is taking place out of our Starbase
Bro, I won't be able to
facility
sleep
in
if this-
South Texas, and that facility has gone through a tremendous amount of change and growth in a really short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, not much even existed there.
No.
It was a very different scene, as you can see by that photo there on your screen. Fast forward to today, and the team is building out an entire production line.
Yeah, last year they built 4 Starship Super Heavy boosters, 5 Starships, our 200 Raptor 2 engine, and this year they're targeting 5 boosters, 8 Starships in production for 2023. And really, you do need a
I just hope we get an
to
update that
rapidly iterate,
first
like
stage
we were
is
talking about
alright.
earlier, on the design of the vehicle as we learn more about it from these.
Because if there is a
Yeah,
pressurization
absolutely.
issue,
Pulling on
it
my
won't be
industrial engineering
solved. Like
background,
they can't
system
solve it,
fill
then
is
it'll get
something that
delayed
is
by at least
critical
48
to
hours.
That goal, being able to produce and launch multiple Starships means that we have to have a system full of those production vehicles, and we iterate on each one. So even the next Starship that will fly in whatever the next test is will be different than the one that you see there on your screen now.
Now, the employees who have been at SpaceX a while say that Starbase does remind them of the early Falcon 1 days, except moving a whole lot faster.
The team at Starbase is expanding as fast as the facilities are, and if you've ever wondered what life at Starbase is like, here's a quick peek.
But look at, bro, this is like some future out there. Crazy. Bro, isn't that the future? Bro, just look at this. Oh. Bro, I'm getting goosebumps right now, I swear. I just hope they launch today, like just hope. I just hope they launch today. Oh. Static fire. Oh, just give us an update about the issue. Bro, I won't be able to sleep tonight if this doesn't happen, I swear. Like from last night, I have been watching like YouTube live from people who are streaming from there,
Starbase
right?
directly employs more than 1,000
Just to see how is everything going.
and is actually the largest employer
Like
in the area.
I haven't even
From that
slept
video,
properly
you
last
can really
night.
tell, like, it's a beautiful location. It's close to the ocean. There's tons of wildlife, and that's because being close to the equator is actually a fantastic way to get to orbit.
Yeah, I love that we have so many employee events that allow us to participate with ocean cleanup and other environmental
Almost
efforts,
T-minus 10.
there. We'd also like to thank Cameron County for being so supportive for all of our work in that area. Now, in addition to Starbase, we'll soon be adding another Texas location to the SpaceX family. We're opening a new facility in Bastrop, Texas, just outside of Austin, to support Starlink hardware production. The new facility will be over 500,000 square feet of manufacturing space, and the team has already started hiring.
Now, we have all kinds of openings in production and manufacturing for technicians and leadership and manufacturing engineers and all kinds of site support roles. Basically, if you can think of a role, we're probably hiring for it.
So if you're interested in helping expand human life to other planets or helping internet access here on Earth, consider becoming part of the SpaceX team at spacex.com/careers. Now, with that, let's check back in with Zach down at Starbase one last time before launch. Howdy, Zach.
Hello, Kate and Shiva again. You can really feel the energy here at South Padre Island as more of the SpaceX team have gathered. We're standing just over 5 miles away from the launch mount, and so from here we've got a very nice view. I would basically say these are some of the best front row seats you could get, and might I add, beachside as well. Now, the Starship team
9 minutes. I think they'll hold.
to get ready
I
for
think
this
they'll
test,
hold.
and we're
I think
all
they'll
really
hold.
excited for T0. And as we get into the final moments, one issue that could hold the countdown or cancel the test altogether is if a boat enters the safety perimeter. Now, over my shoulder is the Gulf of Mexico, which is normally very open to all of the boaters and fishers. However, today, SpaceX is closely coordinating with the United States Coast Guard to establish a safe zone and ensure
Bro, if it
public
happens
safety.
because of a
And
goat,
up
I
to
swear,
T0, SpaceX
bro.
is in regular communication with the Coast Guard to ensure there are no boats in the area leading up to the launch. Now, fingers crossed that does not happen. Now, I'll throw it back to the folks at Hawthorne as we get closer and closer to that T-0.
9 minutes. 9 minutes.
We're just inside T-minus 9 minutes and counting. We're listening on one of the background loops right now. Flight director is talking about the issue we've had on first stage, working the pressurization system. Decision right now is that we are going to stop the launch for today. We're going to transition the launch attempt to a wet dress rehearsal. So that means we're going to continue with the countdown sequence of events. We'll
No
continue
launch.
loading propellant, finishing up here shortly on the second stage. We'll also continue loading propellant onto the first stage, wrapping up at T-minus 3 minutes.
No launch.
We're also going to go through pressurization steps, other steps of the countdown. This will be a full validation for the team, but currently the plan right now is we're waiting for final word, is that I think at T-minus 10 seconds, we will finally stop the clock and then recycle the countdown for today. Now we're inside T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
No launch. No launch.
Continuing to load propellant on both the first and second stage. You can see the Starship second stage with the heat shield tiles there. Carriage arms are open. You can see the condensation around the first stage tank as we load liquid methane, liquid oxygen into the large super heavy first stage. Now that propellant loading is continuing until T-minus 3 minutes.
Oh, Elon tweeted.
There's our great view looking up at the
It seems like a valve is
33
frozen,
engines.
so unless it starts
There's
operating
an
soon, no
outer ring
launch
of
today.
20 engines, and then there's an inner set of 13. Those are the engines that can gimbal and adjust the course of the Starship vehicle on the way up. And of course, the first stage as it comes back down towards the water landing in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, when both stages are loaded, you can see the condensation frost on the side of the first stage. We'll have just over 10 million pounds of liquid propellant on board. Inside
just
T-minus
sad.
7 minutes, we're continuing to count. Team is preparing for the hold and scrub at T-minus 10 seconds. Now, the good news is everything's been going good. We're just working that one issue. So we are continuing to count. Team will get this as an excellent opportunity to run the end-to-end of the system. Now in a launch, in the next few minutes, the guidance system would be performing its final alignment. We will be doing that this morning. The automated flight termination system would be armed. We won't need to arm it today as we won't be flying. And we'll do final thrust vector control checkouts, what we call wiggles of the Raptor
Again,
engines
wait
on the
for
first and
24 to
second
48
stages.
hours.
Now, normally in a countdown, if we needed to hold, there's a view of the second stage Raptor engines just above the first stage. Now, as I mentioned, in a regular countdown, if we needed to hold, that would come at T-minus 40 seconds. That's the point in the countdown where we can pause to wait for final checkouts or pressurization to complete. Now, earlier this morning, we thought we might have to hold at 40 seconds. Everything's looking good. Except for the one pressurization issue that the team is going to have to troubleshoot after this morning. So we won't stop at 40 seconds right now. We'll continue all the way down to 10 seconds, and then we'll go into a recycle.
Oh, but this happens rocket launch. Have to take it
into
in.
a wet dress rehearsal here, and I actually
Now we're
think
coming up T-minus 5 minutes. Overall, though, Kate, Shiva, it's been a good day. It's a little sad listening to the flight director say that we're going to have to stop at 10 seconds. But I guess that's for everybody. It gives us a real run through of the launch vehicle.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Of course, we wanted to see fire today and lift off, but that's okay. The point of the countdown is to allow the teams to progress to that T0 time in a coordinated fashion, and really to unveil any issues prior to the ignition sequence. So the countdown did its job today. It allowed us to identify that press issue, and like John mentioned, the teams are going to work through it, and we are going to basically call it off at T-minus 10 seconds. But the integrated launch teams and us, we are going to treat this as if it were still a launch day. We're going to do this, what we now call a wet dress rehearsal.
Yeah, and we've mentioned the term a couple of times here. We call it a wet dress rehearsal because we are wetting the propellant tanks. We are loading propellant into the vehicle. We've talked about the frost line a little bit here. That exercises the stage 0 system.
I'm just thinking Elon will
system, all of our infrastructure
tweet again saying you're going for it.
Exercises our procedures for the mission control teams. We're monitoring telemetry on the mission control consoles, looking at the pressures and the rates and the temperatures. And some of those things look a little bit different when you're getting up to the pre-flight pressurization levels and full propellant load. So we're learning things today about the integrated tests that are going to set us up for success in a future attempt later on, hopefully in the next 48 hours or so.
48 hours.
And Kate, like it's also worth mentioning here, we're still going to take the count through to a pretty around the T-minus 10 second mark. So we're really going to exercise everything that we would up until that point in the vehicle states and ground procedures.
Yeah, it's like we said before, any data that we
I'll end the stream when this ends, okay?
And that's
I'm not gonna play anything. I don't feel like I thought this will launch today.
And allow the teams to have be better informed for the next attempt. Unfortunately, due to the needing to recycle the propellant, we are looking at a minimum of 48 hours until we are able to attempt this flight test again. So we're not quite sure what that timing will be at the moment, but we're looking at a minimum of 48 minutes, or excuse me, of 48 hours at this point in time. But Shiva, exactly as you said, things look a little bit different on launch day, and we allowed the countdown to do its job, to basically get to this point, to allow the teams to work through the issues. And we're going to continue, like we said before, we're going to continue all this down all the way to T-minus 10 seconds. And that will really allow the teams to pretend like this is launch day and continue and gather that data.
Yeah, Kate, it's on the one hand, it's a little bittersweet. On the other hand, we watched them go all the way through. First stage propellant load, just now wrapping up. The second stage, even the header tanks up under the nose of the Starship that you can see on the monitors. Actually, that all went very well today. The weather was excellent. Everything was looking good. Sadly, we just have the one issue, but that is letting the team continue to count down. And we're going to continue with it here until we get the clock hold at T-minus 10 seconds.
Yeah, so for those of you that have just joined us, we're now at T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds to what would have been the launch of our Starship flight test. But unfortunately, due to a stage 1 issue, we are going to utilize today as a wet dress rehearsal. Instead, we are not going to attempt launch. The teams are basically saying that we're scrubbing our launch attempt for today, and we are expecting a minimum of 48 hours in order to recycle. So it's all good news, though. There's nothing really to be sad about other than we had hoped to be able to lift off today, but that's okay.
Now, one thing to point out for folks, when we do come back, when we clear this and we fly, last minute, you won't be hearing us because we'll be listening to the countdown. But at T-minus 30 seconds, that's when the flight director will give the final go for launch. Love to have heard that this morning, but something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Just light those candles and let it go.
6 seconds, we begin lighting the engines. Up on your monitor, you can see there, T minus 40 seconds. We did hit the 40-second hold point, and they are holding for a moment. In the end, they will release that hold. We'll go the last 30 seconds. But yes, when we do get to day of launch, the last thing to look at is in the last 6 seconds, light the Raptor engines in succession.
Light
So
those
unlike Falcon 9,
candles.
we're going to have to do that a little longer. We're hearing right now the clock is going to hold here at T minus 40 seconds. The Super Heavy and Starship are looking good. So with that, Kate, it's been a fast-paced morning. We got through it fairly quickly, but at this point, we're going to have to call it a morning.
Yeah, that's right. So for those of you that have recently just joined us, we unfortunately had a hold on the countdown today, and that is going to scrub our launch attempts. But we are expecting a minimum of 48 hours in order to recycle.
Peace
So
out.
be sure to keep an eye on our social channels.
I'll be
We'll
back
share
when they
information as
launch
it
again.
becomes available.
I'll be back.
Until then, stay safe and we'll see you soon.
Stay safe. I'll see you guys soon.